My friends, will you pray with me? Gracious God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, my rock and my salvation. Amen.
Amen.
Today is Ascension Sunday, the day Jesus was lifted up to heaven. Many times what is focused on here is something like you might see in a Cecil B. DeMille film starring Charlton Heston as Jesus, with angels blowing trumpets and choirs singing and the sky lighting up and Jesus all aglow, lifted up on a cloud into heaven. But that's not what this day is really about. This is the last time Jesus was to physically be with the disciples. Mind you, they are still numb from what happened recently. The betrayal, the trial, the crucifixion and death, and the resurrection. All of these events must have been bewildering to them. And now this? But look at what Jesus tells them in verse 48 in Luke. You are witnesses of these things. The same thing is repeated in Acts chapter 1, verse 8. You will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, in Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. They had seen all these things happen. Soon they would understand why they happened. That's what Jesus wanted his disciples to do. That was their new purpose in life. To be witnesses to other people about the good news of Jesus. To witness to the things that have been learned and to share with other people. And to give, beginning from Jerusalem. In other words, from home. So they returned to Jerusalem, and instead of fright and doubt, they were filled with joy and praising God. And that's what we're called to do today. In this busy world, with so much to do, how often as we, Christians, take the time to pray, to thank God for what God has provided for us? I know for myself the answer is not enough. Getting caught up in the day-to-day routine of what we call life, where there never seems to be time for anything, it's easy to forget. Between work and school and the laundry and the grass has to be mowed and the kids and, well, you get the idea. It's no wonder why we forget to take some time out in a day to thank God. But maybe what we really need to do here is look beyond the day-to-day stuff in our lives and discover what life is really about. Life is way more than about your job, your home, your stuff. All the worldly possessions you have will not bring you real happiness, joy, and fulfillment. Let's look at the job. Many people measure success by what position they have in their company, how much money they make, and how far they can travel up the ladder. They feel that is their purpose. And oh yes, that will provide some temporary moments of satisfaction, happiness, and fulfillment. But then what? What is needed to find the real purpose in life. Something that will fill us with joy and happiness always. Something that we can use to measure success. Jesus calls us to look at the scriptures and look at his actions. He calls us to proclaim the good news of Christ and to bear witness to God, to share it starting in your own community. I know for myself, I find true satisfaction, joy, and fulfillment, not from what I have, but what I can do for others. That's what calls me to do my life, and that's what my real purpose is. Just imagine if everyone started and to help and lift up another person. How much different would this world be today? But we often get too caught up in the mundane tasks of what society dictates as a purposeful life. We get trapped by worldly possessions, selfishness, resentments, and greed. It's time to arise. It's time to go beyond the mundane and fill your life with real joy and real happiness. It's time to fulfill your purpose in life. It's time to fill your life with God. Take the time to pray and thank God for what you have. To take time to ask God, what you want me to do today, God? To take the time and do the things God calls you to do. To forgive and to love. Starting with yourself. Now, I'm not suggesting that you give up your entire life and become a monk. I am suggesting that you start taking time and incorporate with God part of your daily routine. You may ask, how can I do that? You can start with discovering your passion. You can start by becoming more engaged within this congregation and the ministries we currently have, and the ones that will evolve forward as we move forward with our new pastor. For myself, I have been blessed. This very month, 17 years ago, I was diagnosed with AIDS and didn't even expect to see 2,000. But I'm still here today, I'm still alive, and I'm still well. So God has called me to help those who are still suffering from HIV. But it's not just the big picture items that are important. It's the little things too. Maybe a friend is sick and needs some medication, but can't get to the store or afford it. But you have the ability to do those things. Arise to the occasion and do it. Or someone is in a nursing home. Arise to the occasion and visit them. A smile and a friendly voice can make their whole day. A person is being bullied and taunted for being different, for being who they are. Arise to the moment and speak out. Arise to the occasion and let God lead you and guide you in helping others in our lives that may not know what MCC is, and lead them to come and visit our congregation on Sunday. Sometimes the simplest example of sharing our faith is of who we are is arising to the occasion. There are many ways to fulfill what Jesus is calling us to do. All we need to do is pray, to give thanks, and to listen. Are you ready to arise? Amen.